So in the next few slides, I'll be talking briefly about the capabilities and components. So moving on to that part. So in Acceldata, once you open the pipeline module, so this is the page that we land onto, and here we'll be able to see the different pipelines that we have onboarded. So in today's example, we'll be seeing Airflow, Open Lineage, and DBT Core. So all those individual DAGs will be represented as a pipeline over here. And this pipeline, it again has, like I mentioned earlier, it will have the executions of data pipeline, status, metadata, and the other things, right, which are required for monitoring. And coming to pipeline, each pipeline has a pipeline run, and these runs can contain status, metadata, and metrics related to the execution of the data pipeline. And currently, the executions are supported for the batch executions. And moving on to the next slide. So once we onboard a pipeline, so we have multiple ways to onboard pipeline in Acceldata. I'll be touching upon that later. But once we do that, this is how the pipeline graph looks like. So if I go to the previous slide, let's say if we double click on any of the pipelines, right, that we have onboarded. So it takes us to this graph view where it will show us the end-to-end lineage of the pipeline. So if we have um, added job nodes, asset nodes, then it will show us end-to-end view. So this gives a visibility to the data engineering teams. And you might wonder, there are two different box colors, right? Like blue box and the white box. The blue box represents the asset node, where it can be like a file or a table which is onboarded in Acceldata as a data source. And the job nodes, again, it can it can do any type of process or tasks, right? Like loading job or reading or transforming. So those can also be the job nodes. And here in this view, if you see, we will be able to track the execution status of each pipeline run, how much time it has taken, and all those things. um, Moving on to the next slide. So we were talking about spans as well, right? So each of the pipeline will have a job node and asset node, and each of the job nodes will have spans. So the spans will show the duration of each components of the pipeline run. So let's say generate rows is one job, and this is the total timeline that has taken for the generate rows process to complete. And under this, we have four separate child spans, and we'll be able to track the timeline for each of those time spans as well. So it gives us a granular control, and we can understand how much time each individual small subtasks are taking to complete. And moving on to the next step, so which is the pipeline event. So each span is associated with an event, right, like we mentioned, and these are the custom metadata key value pairs that I already mentioned. So we can customize this according to our requirement. And when we use Airflow Open Lineage for integration or DBT Core, so by default we get to see some custom not custom, some default metadata key value metadata pairs, which will provide some context to the data engineering teams. But when we go about implementing the pipeline using Acceldata SDK um, or like full code implementation, right? When I say full code, like the customers, they will need to install certain packages which are built by Acceldata and integrated within their pipelines. When if they refactor the code with Acceldata's package, then they will be able to customize these events, and it will give more context to them. So the next part is pipeline monitoring and alerting. So within each of the pipeline, we have an option to create the pipeline monitors and alerts, which allows us to track the duration of the pipeline. So we can set up the baseline comparison. So let's say if you see this particular screenshot, this one says compared to the average of last 10 runs. So every time the pipeline runs, the current pipeline's run will be compared to the average execution of last 10 runs. So it will show us how the pipeline is performing compared to the last average number of runs, right? So And on top of that, we'll be able to add the severity and notification channel, thereby providing visibility to many different teams within the organization. And finally, these are the key benefits. So I'd like to quickly show you the benefits of pipeline observability. By using pipeline observability, you'll have greater visibility of your pipeline, and you will be able to track the SLAs and SLA monitoring, and get alerted to your channels. And with this pipeline observability, you will be able to ex- compare the different pipeline execution. So let's say if you want to compare today's execution with the previous day's execution or last week's execution, you'll be able to compare and understand what has changed or what has went wrong, right? So that's really important when we talk about pipelines. And the next important thing is circuit break pipeline, circuit break. So if we integrate with Acceldata SDKs, we have this ability to implement the circuit break mechanism. So let's say we are implementing data quality checks, right? Data quality policies or other policies in Acceldata. And if we want to integrate that within our pipeline, we can actually use that the data quality policy score to decide whether we have to continue with our pipeline or or terminate our pipeline. So this is actually really a good use case for most of our customers, wherein they have the option to control their ETLs using the circuit break mechanism. And the final step is automated data reliability. So in case some of our customers, they might use the Accelerata listener, Airflow listener plugin, right? Or some sort of listener plugin which will just observe whatever DAGs or whatever code is present in their environment without even actually touching their existing code, like no code approach. So when we use that approach, then there might be a question: how do I integrate my data quality policy or reconciliation policy or profiling to be executed within my pipeline? So in that case, you can go with the automated data reliability option, which will let the user to automate few policies or profiling from the UI. So let's say after every pipeline run, you want to execute a DQ policy or or a profiling. So this option will let you do that. It's an out of the box feature.